The return of Ben Simmons and his debut for the Brooklyn Nets is reportedly just days away, and with the Nets locked into a great series with the Boston Celtics, it would be a great time for Ben Simmons to make his return. Man, I got a very simple question for you. What does Ben Simmons' debut to the Brooklyn Nets mean for this franchise moving forward and their hopes of a title?
I mean, I think more than anything, it's going to be more of a symbolic victory for the Brooklyn Nets. I think this is something that they can use to make the team and make the fan base excited for next year while the season is still going on. Because let's be honest, in my opinion, Ben Simmons is great. We know what Ben Simmons can do. He's going to be a solid defender, but I don't think this is a guy that also hasn't played in a year and just started doing actual 4-on-4, 5-on-5 stuff recently. To expect him to come in, give meaningful minutes, and try and lock up, Jason Tatum is just not a real life thing you can expect. If the Brooklyn Nets win this series, it's going to be because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving went off in every game, and you already saw Kyrie Irving do it once, and I expect Kevin Durant to bounce back from his bad showing in Game 1 tonight. So that's going to be it. With Simmons, maybe it starts to mean more the deeper they go and the more time he gets back on the court. But for right now, it's more of a symbolic victory or something for the fan base to get excited about rather than a meaningful, contribution as far as X's and O's.
It sounds like we disagree because I think a healthy return of Ben Simmons means that the Nets can make the Eastern Conference Finals. You don't need him to play 30, 35 minutes a game. You don't need him to take 15 shots a game. But what you're probably going to need him to do if you're the Brooklyn Nets is return and probably guard the other team's best player, something you don't think that he's able to do just yet, which is fair. It remains to be seen. But you're probably going to need him to play a handful of minutes guarding Giannis in the next round series, or maybe even a James Harden or a Jimmy Butler in the conference finals. That's what you're going to need him to do. You're also going to need him to do is play point guard, play a true point guard, something the Brooklyn Nets really don't have. Kyrie is great as he is, one of the most skilled scorers in NBA history. He's not a true point guard. Kevin Durant has been kind of taking on that playmaking role recently. He's been doing a fine job. He's a great passer, but it takes away from his ability to do what he does best, which is score the basketball. And I think Ben Simmons can fill that void, run the offense, get KD and Kyrie easier looks, which is scary to say, considering they're already damn near dropping 30 points per game in the playoffs. And don't forget, Ben Simmons has created the most wide open threes in the NBA since he's entered the NBA. So this is somebody who defenses have to respect when you're talking about driving lane, driving and dishing to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So I think Ben Simmons is a plus on both ends. I mean, it remains to be seen how Steve Nash is going to manage his minutes, manage the rotation, and obviously it's going to be a work because these guys have never played with Ben Simmons ever. You know, so there's certainly question marks. But again, I think Ben Simmons, again, you mentioned he hasn't played in a year, but when last seen, he was my defensive player of the year last year. Obviously, we know what his shortcomings were that came out to the public in the Atlanta Hawks series in the postseason last year. But I think he's going to be more in an insulated situation where he's not going to be put in those positions where he has to, again, shoot 10, 12, 15 times in a game.
Well, I understand that, but I think the point that I was trying to make, and I don't disagree that at some point, and I did say that, as the playoffs go on, the more time he gets out there, that's going to be beneficial. The problem is that he is coming back in the middle of a series where Brooklyn is the 7th seed against a very strong Boston Celtics team that is just a good all-around team. And then you're talking about budding superstars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is a problem as well.
100%. But
so
go ahead.
My point being, for him to come back during this series, it's not as important, because it doesn't matter what he can do later on if they don't get past Boston. And I don't know how much he improves the Brooklyn Nets' chances to beat Boston in the immediate future because of the fact that he hasn't played with the team, so they have to develop the chemistry, and he doesn't have in-game conditioning down.
That's fair. That's fair to say. But as much as we love Boston, as much as we like Boston, I think the world of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, don't you think the Brooklyn Nets have a very great chance of winning this series, whether Ben Simmons appears or not? Don't you think that?
Yeah, I understand. And I said KD, but I did say Kevin Durant and Kyrie are going to be the reason why that happens.
Agreed. With that being said, they get past Boston, which would be a feat, which would be a 6-7 game series. Then you would start to say Ben Simmons can work himself back. He would get more reps. And as like you mentioned, That's why it's important because the Brooklyn Nets, this is not a first round exit team. This is not what they're hoping to do. Obviously, Boston presents challenges, but Brooklyn is in it for a title. And again, if they can get Ben Simmons back to himself in round 2, obviously if they can get there to a conference semis, conference finals, if they can get there with a fully healthy and comfortable Ben Simmons, I think that makes a world of a difference.
Okay. I think it's going to just come down to how long can Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving keep this team afloat until Ben Simmons can give them an actual contribution. And I know that's not going to happen in the first round series. And then let's say they go up against Milwaukee. How long into that series is it going to be, and will it be too late at that point?
Yeah. And I just think, again, Ben Simmons is going to help the Brooklyn Nets in a potential series against the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, we just saw it last year with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving for half that series. James Harden hobbled throughout that series. It literally took 7 games. Not really a miracle, but damn near Kevin Durant's foot being just a little bit too big for Milwaukee to escape out of that series. I think with a healthy Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant still playing like one of the best couple players of the year, added Defensive Player of the Year candidate on top of that, I think they can give the Bucks, anybody really, some run. But again, it all depends on Ben's health, how he kind of reacclimates himself with his team. But if it happens, I think the East should be a little bit worried. All right. But we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how this series plays out, see exactly when Ben Simmons will return and what it'll look like. But catch us on tomorrow's episode of Simple Question. For Scott Proctor, Matt Morris, we'll see you then.